And we're back with Despina Priala from boutique law firm Priala Legal. If you would like to listen to any of our Talking Law segments, you can go to YouTube and just search Priala Legal, Priala.
And Despina, always happy to answer any questions you have to do with the law. If you want to put them into an email, send it to us, breakfast97@superradionetwork.com.au. That's breakfast97@superradionetwork.com.au.
Okay, so we've been talking about wills, something that you actually specialise in, as well as property. So we've discussed obviously how technology has changed over the past 30 years, and we mentioned text messages, some cases actually being approved for a text message as a will, and obviously there's video wills as well. So can you explain how this might be risky?
Yes, and I will say, look, there haven't been many cases where text messages have been identified as a will. Very, very few. So I do want to get that message across, that it's not something that we want to just go willy-nilly and do and dispense with a written will. Written will is the best. It's a valid way of providing your testamentary intentions. But yes, look, there is one case only that I'm aware of so far about a video will being identified as an actual valid will, and it was held in the New South Wales Supreme Court back in 2015 in relation to the estate of Chan. So what the court said in that particular case is that the video recording was an oral statement, obviously, and it was a deliberate recording of a video will, with the intention of the speaker having this video to take effect as a will. So it obviously turned on very much how the video was done, what was said in the video, just like the written content of a will. Okay, so it's not a blanket, let's do a video will and it'll be deemed to be a will because there's been a case. Not necessarily. It always turns on the individual facts of a case as to whether a court will make a decision which varies from the law. So remember what I said before, we've got to have a written will, which is what the law says, that you sign, that's classed as your last will and testament, and with 2 independent witnesses. So when we try and vary that with technology, it's always it's not a black and white. It's always going to have to go to the court and get tested to see whether it will also be deemed to be a will. So I'm not out there propounding that everybody should go and let's do a text message and let's do a video will. That's not the message I want to get across. What I want to try and get to listeners, and the message to listeners is this, that everybody should have a will once they're over 18, okay? Whether you have assets or not. Because a will is very important to talk about other things besides assets, such as if something happens to you, would you want to be buried, do you want to be cremated? What's to happen to target the younger generation, perhaps? What's to happen to all your social media accounts? Shock horror. Who's gonna take over Facebook when I pass away?
Instagram.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
Your passwords.
Exactly. So I'd rather not rely on T's and C's that Facebook may have on any given day. They could be changed, and I'd rather put it in my will, and I'd rather, for example, put all my passwords with the will, which can be done. And if you ever change your passwords, you can update that document with your will and have wishes in the will about, well, this is the person I want to manage the social media accounts when I'm gone. I want them all shut down, for example, or remove posts, pictures, personal items. So that's very important, I would have thought. And you can only really do that in a will.
And it's interesting because you think once you're gone, okay, my account will just sit there, but people can still, it's still active, people can still post whatever they want and write whatever they want to.
I have quite a few people who've died that are still friends of mine on Facebook.
So isn't that odd?
Odd thought.
And
that's really odd.
And in fact, just in the last few days, one of the blokes I used to go to
Wrote
school
his
with,
status.
that would be scary. No, his birthday came up. So he's still celebrating his birthday despite having died a number of years ago.
It's interesting, isn't it?
So I don't think a lot of people give that thought, that they're out there with an abundance of social media accounts, and when they pass away, well, you spend so much time and you invest so much time on these social media accounts with pictures and posts and all sorts of things. Wouldn't you want that to be managed when you pass away? So for that very reason alone, go and get a will. So when we talk about the video will, I think that's a good idea to do it in conjunction with a written will.
Despina, do you think there's, with the rise of technology and social media and everyone's got a phone, most people have got a phone, do you think there's ever going to be a time when a written will be totally replaced by either a text message or a video will or something?
Well,
like
if it
that?
is, it won't be in my
Electronic?
lifetime.
Okay.
I just don't think that's ever going to happen. It's been since time immemorial, since the legislation's been passed, you've got to have a written will. And I've said the reasons why. It's very important to have it clearly spelt out what your testamentary intentions are, which cannot really be done in text messages, let's be honest, or video wills if you only use the video will. And you've got to be guided by a solicitor who does estate planning and wills and knows how to word things in a particular way so your assets are dealt with properly. So yeah, you do the video will, but do it in conjunction. And in terms of using platforms or other mediums to speak for you from the grave, I suppose, after you're gone. We've talked about the memorandum of wishes document. Now we've talked about video wills, so that very much could be used to get across the message about what you want to have happen after you pass away. And I am aware that there are other forums or other ways that you can have your messages spoken for you from the grave by third parties at various places after you pass away. But I think the best way is for you to do it. And you are the testator or the person that's making the will, your wishes known. And I think it's best it comes from you as a written document. But by all means, if you want to do that video and you get excited about it, if that's possible, about I'm going to do this video will with a written will. I'm going to set out exactly what I want to have happen. And you view the recording afterwards, make sure it's correct. If not, you redo it. Do it with your solicitor. Why not do it on a Zoom? Why not have it recorded? I have Zoom recordings all the time with clients who are well aware of that for other meetings. But I'm saying, well, why couldn't you use that for a will with a written will as well?
Sure. And that doesn't necessarily have to be shown to everyone. It can be something between you and your client. And then if, say, something does pop up and they say, if so-and-so wants to fight it, let's show them me speaking about it. If they don't believe me. Yeah,
exactly. It's not to replace the written will. It's there to be an aid in the
assist.
event that there needs to be something further explained to the court after you pass away.
Excellent advice there, as always, from Despina Priala from boutique law firm Priala Legal. And if anyone does want to get in touch with you directly, Despina, for property or wills or whatever it may be, where can they go?
So they can phone the office 55291 294 and talk to myself or my lovely staff there, or they can go onto YouTube. As you said before, all the segments are uploaded on YouTube every week, and listen to the show.
Listen to the show. That's right, kids. You're listening to Radio 97. Thank you so much again, Despina and Wayne.
We'll see you next week.
See you then.
Bye-bye.